So where we are right now on the AUTOFUSION project, we have all of our Lego pieces disassembled and ready to be reassembled in a different fashion. We have the two platforms. We have the platform that is the Lincoln Town Car, and then we also have the torn down F350. Dude, check out this video where I was driving it. Like I said in the last video, I wanted to place emphasis on making sure this platform was still ready to go to put a different body on it if I wanted to, and as you can see, it is doing just that. So today it only makes sense that I focus on putting the cab of my truck on the body of the carcass, and let's get right into it, man. By the end of this video, we are going to be seeing something really special.
And now, you're watching the world famous content creator siblings Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and Rue Paul channel of YouTube. Welcome to AUTOFUSION.
Hey, so what is up and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me yet again on another video. So we have the Ford cab sitting right here. We have the Lincoln Town Car, the carcass sitting in the shop. Now the goal is obviously to lift this cab and drop it on the running and driving chassis that is the Town Car over here. But I don't really want to get into the idea of lifting it, making a cut, bringing it back, putting it down, making it cut, so on and so forth. I feel like that's going to waste a lot of time, so I kind of want to try to get a little bit strategic about it and get ahead of it. So I'm going to just take a tape measure, make sure my width is good, figure out what in here is going to collide. I can see I'm going to have to cut out almost all of the dash. So the idea is I want to try to cut absolutely everything within a couple times of lifting it. If I'm just lifting it and lowering it and lifting it and lowering it, I'm going to be here for weeks. So let's go ahead and focus on the car first, as it's really hot out here. I'll let the sun go down a little bit before I actually want to focus on the cab. So now in my last video, I was talking about reference points, and I threw out a number of 18 inches. There's a point on the cab that has to be 18 inches away from the center of the wheel. So I can go ahead and figure out, based on that one number, I can measure off of the cab, I can measure off this car, and then I can figure out roughly where my floor is going to be. So if I find the center of my wheel, and then I go about 18 inches back, that's where the cab is going to start, and that just so happens to line up with this pinch weld right here. So now I need to go to the cab over here. So just to recap, from this corner right here on either side, 18 inches is where the center of the tire is going to be. So I figured out where that is on that car. So I have that mark, and now I need to come back from that corner. So the floor in the Town Car cannot exceed about 50 inches. 50 inches would make it pretty clean. So now I need to figure out that 18 inch plus 50 and then go from the center of the tire 68 inches back, and that's where my floor needs to be. So I have the center of the tire right here. Now keep in mind, these aren't exact, but this is just going to get us pretty close. So 68 is right about here, and right now it's 85, so that's going to show us that a bunch of this floor needs to go away. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that out. Alright, so really quickly before I start cutting, I wanted to point out a little trick that I use to help me draw a straight line over a curved surface. So first of all, in this point right there where the tape is, I measured from the tire to the tape. Over there I measured from the tire to the tape, doing the same exact thing. And now this tape is casting a shadow down on the floor, so I just traced that shadow with a crooked ass Sharpie line, but the shadow itself is straight, and as you can see, all the way across. So now I could just take the tape out of there, but the line below it, the shadow will go away, but the line is still there, and I know the line is straight from the passenger side all the way to the driver's side. So now I want to turn my... Lola, she found a turtle over here, man. Let's put it back by the water. She's scaring it. Come on, little turtle. Come on, buddy. It's alright. Check him out. Woo! That's just a little Florida water turtle. I don't want to scare him too bad. He's just hanging out. What's up, buddy? He got grass in his mouth. I'm gonna put him back by the water because Lola was Lola was chasing him a little bit. All right, so dude's making his way back to the water. Let's figure out what we need to get cutting on the truck, the dash. I want to protect the windshield. We always got to make sure that when we're doing a lot of cutting, grinding, or whatever near any of the glass, want to cover it up before we go ahead and start doing that, because that'll just tear up the glass and make it really nasty, and you can't clean all those sparks off of it. So go ahead and get the glass protected, then cut out the dash. Pretty cool turtle. So according to my calculations, I think we should be good. I'm gonna go ahead and lift it up and let's see where we are. I got the dash trimmed, the inside all along the rockers trimmed, a new notch in the back for the new frame. That was a little bit weird. I didn't know exactly how I wanted to do that, but the box is going to also have to be notched, so that's just something to think about as well. So let's get this up in the air, pull the carcass back, and then lower this down. One thing that I can foresee being a problem is I put that bar stock in there. I don't know if that's gonna hit the steering wheel. If it does, we'll just have to, I'll weld in a new bar further back and then cut off that one exactly where it is. That way the structure is still there as I'm messing around with it. So nothing to it but to do it. Let's go. Okay, it is what it is. Let's start to go down with it. We are twisted. That's better. So as you can see, I'm just slowly lowering the cab down, kind of looking around, making sure that everything is okay. And as I suspected, that brace running across is colliding with the steering wheel. So even with wiggling it around, I'm quickly realizing that I'm going to have to cut it out. So no big deal. Let me just lift the cab right off the chassis again. I'm recording, bro. Relax.
Here's your friend, Bodie Mitchell, and your classmate teammates.
So I'm cutting out the old brace, but I'm putting in the new brace before the old one goes away, so that way the structure is still there, just like I mentioned a little bit ago. So all good. I did not expect to get it perfect the first time. I do understand that I might have to go up and down a few times with the cab over the chassis, so it's all good. Yeah, so we're now starting to rock. Touch it here. Now, I can either sit too low or too high. Yeah. So right now it is actually about 24 hours past the last clip that you just saw. Now that doesn't mean I've been working on it for 24 hours, obviously, but it just goes to show that even though at the beginning of this video I was talking about not wanting to lift it up, trim it, put it down, lift it up, trim it, and put it down, I ended up having to do that anyways. But every time it went up in my mind, I said, let me trim absolutely everything that I possibly can see that's preventing us from going down low enough. So I think it's pretty good right there. What I want to do is I want to get it back so that way we can really take a look at it. I mean, because sitting with it by the lift right now looks a little bit crazy. And keep in mind the bar's in here. So I'm not going to be sitting down. Obviously, I'm going to be sitting quite a bit lower. But even at this height, dude, this isn't bad. I'm going to come down, obviously, quite a bit. All right, let's see. First drive. Ooh, this is a truck, baby. Oh, there's a board right there. This is crazy, dude. How cool. Lola, chill, man. All right. Sitting up on that bar is a little bit much, but dude, this is the first time you and I are actually looking at it together where I can see it off in the distance with all the bars and everything over here. It's just so hard to tell. But I mean, just a few days ago, I was tearing down the cab, and dude, look how crazy, look how good that looks. Let me go get a fender. I'm gonna grab the passenger side just because that's where we're looking at right now. I'll actually move this over here quite a bit so we can see it a little better. So it's pretty cool with how this works because if you saw in my teardown video, there's a main bar that comes off of right here, and that locates every single thing for the front end. So I don't really have to worry about trying to make fender mounts or anything because the cab and the radiator support locate everything. The radiator support comes off of this bar, connects both sides together. Let me just put this right here so we can see. Oh yeah, that's already tuck and tire. And keep in mind, we can go down from here. In the back, I have about 8.5, 9 inches to go before the axle's making contact with the frame. So really, I'd like it to get down low. I want the box to be laid out, but just at ride height, tuck and tire, looking really good. And I'm gonna have different wheels on here. I wish I could get this stabilized so that way you can really take it in. But dude, look how sick that is. So with this being a car chassis, I was worried that the wheels were going to be sitting way too close to the cab. It just looks like a short bed. It looks really good. What the hell you got going on, Lola, huh? All right, so at this point, now that the cab is pretty much where it's going to be indefinitely, my next step is to confirm that it for sure is in the right spot. And the only way that I can do that is by making sure the cab stays where it is. I drew some reference points and some marks, and I have to build the front end to make sure, in fact, everything is just fine. Once I know that the front end is gonna work and the cab is where it's supposed to be, that's all gonna become finalized, and then we're gonna move on to the bed. The bed and the cab are completely separate from one another. I can't do the bed until the cab is finalized. I can't finalize the cab until I know the front end is going to work. So as I'm going through the process, you are watching the process, and I hope you're having a really good time watching because I'm having a really good time building. This has been nothing but a good time thus far. So I think in the next video, you'll see the front end come together, and all of that is to come in the next video. So let me know what you think about everything thus far. Let's see how this goes. Like this video, comments. I gotta go a little bit quicker. Let's do a little burnout for you. Like this video, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff. You know what it is, YouTube. I'll see you on the next one. This is surreal. I'm out.